Okay, guys, let's start. All right. Right now, we stream this for everybody. We don't have too many visitors yet, but Kevin is going to join us for sure from Palma. The plan is that we have 2 talks today. Let me share the screen first, because this is not the best thing which we can see. All right.
Oh, very nice.
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a guest from Palma. Let's check if he is able to hear us. Kevin? No, I guess there's only me right now, but I don't know if... Let's see. All right. Oh, fantastic. Okay. So, the idea of this meetup is to give 2 talks. First talk is about using Meteor for RESTful APIs for mobile, and I'll be presenting it. And second talk will be done by Alvaro. I'll be doing this in English, and Alvaro will be doing it in Spanish. All right, fantastic. Yeah. Hi, hello. All right. So let's start then. Oh, this is it. Can All right. So that's me. I'm currently Node.js developer, and I'm doing mostly Node.js or backend with JavaScript. I come from a Java world, so I used to work with backends, but in Java. So Spring frameworks and all the fun for like 7 years. And right now, more than 2 years, I'm a Node.js developer. And everything changed, perspective changed a lot. All the fun came suddenly, you just started realizing that, JavaScript is so awesome, you can cry sometimes, How awesome it is. All right, so here's the plan for this presentation. Is that first question is why Meteor for mobile. Second one is how to implement it, and how does it look? What is the experience with this? All right, so why mobile API for Meteor? Because normally, as we know, we have client, server, and it is connected through DDP. Everything works great. We have Blaze. It is reactive, a lot of magic. But what if you would like to connect a native application like Android or iOS application with your Meteor? You have couple options. Option number 1 is that you will use DDP client, and as soon as you go with DDP client, the question is it the best solution? Is that first of all, as soon as you will use DDP, how you will present data in the application in the reactive way? So imagine that data changes. So certain clients changes the data. It is propagated to the Mongo, then back to all the clients who are interested in this data. In this case, you'll have to implement something like a Blaze-like templating engine. Second thing is that with file uploading, as soon as you want to upload file, for example, you make a picture from your iPhone or an Android phone, and then you'd like to update, you would like to update it, you would like to upload it to the backend, and then maybe to present to everybody. It's not so trivial using DDP. Another thing is that if you want to keep DTP connection, it means that you have basically WebSockets, right? Which also means that your battery will be drained faster. And also regarding popularity of DTP for third parties, it's not everybody knows what is DTP, but majority of people know that we have REST, we have just HTTP web verbs, post, get, put, delete, and so right now I think it's de facto standard if you want to connect your mobile application to certain backends. So these are the issues. That's why we wouldn't pick DTP in this case. And this talk is that what you will face if you will skip DTP protocol and you go with RESTful approach. All right. So in this case, we have a couple of options as well. Maybe I'll talk with this one.
Andre, you want to stand out better? So
yeah, I can. The question is,
I can.
Yeah,
pass the slides for you.
Sure. All right. So you guys know probably about leaky abstraction, and this is actually the topic I'd like to talk after, because imagine that we have Meteor application, everything is great, half of things are done magically, or half magically, and what if it doesn't work? I mean, how fast you're able to go deep in and understand why it doesn't work? Obviously, there are two sides of this. As soon as you are working with high level, like highly abstract tools, you're able to achieve much more, but at certain cost. And this cost is exactly leak abstraction. That's the term coined in 2000 something by a famous guy from Stack Overflow, right? And this other side is low level. Is that okay? So how about if I will implement RESTful API manually? Like I won't use too much of the modules available, but then step by step, so building from scratch, I will know what exactly is going on, and as soon as something doesn't work, you know how to fix it because you started from the ground. And this is a very hard choice, to be honest. Personally, I always prefer to start from low level, just to understand how exactly it works, and then as soon as I do understand, then I can say, oh, maybe it's not really needed because I have other tools which are doing half of the boilerplate for me. That's my personal choice, but like I said, there are at least two options. So we have this choice: leak abstraction against low level, and no matter what we will choose, we'll face a couple main issues. Is that HTTP caching, authentication on the server side, and how to map our endpoints like user/profile to collection. All right.
What is supposed to come after? Sorry, my fault. Sorry.
Please, just please.
Right. Sorry.
Let me try.
It's like here. All right. Okay. Never use this. Fine.
So option number one is all-in-one modules, which is exactly this leak abstraction, which works until it doesn't, but usually it does. So we have at least four more or less popular modules like HTTP publish. This is just a CRUD REST point for a collection. So imagine you have a collection, then you install HTTP publish, and you're able to expose this collection through HTTP methods like layer post. Then we have another option is HTTP methods, which is done by the same guys who did HTTP publish. It's like more advanced. It gives you more advanced tools. Another one is collection API. Unfortunately, that's a good module. I used to work with this. Unfortunately, last commit was done in September 2013, so it's more than 1 year. So you have to just keep in mind this. And RESTOP, which is not, which is already deprecated, which is also a very good module, but it's not supported anymore. All right, so this is this second perspective, which is lower level. And if you check the roadmap for Meteor, official Connect middleware support is going to be included into version 1, which means that in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, I guess, it will be officially announced that we have Connect middleware support, which is amazing because I'm doing a lot of APIs and Node, and as soon as you have Connect, as soon as you have Express, you can do basically everything. Also, what you can do, you can use Iron Router package, which is probably one of the most important packages in Meteor community, which is amazing. It's really high quality package. And what you can do is that using Iron Router, like it's presented here, I'm not sure if it's visible enough. Do you see it? Like,
yes,
it's visible. So idea is that you're saying that I have a root, like download, for example, file, and here when you handle this endpoint, you have access to Node.js request and Node.js response, which means that you can set status, you can set any response, you can check a request, you can check user agent, basically everything what is available through Node.js API. All right. And also, what you should use Iron Router RESTful routes. It's like you're saying, okay, I have a webhooks stripe, and so it will work only on the server, and you have GET. So you have webhook stripe, which is HTTP GET. You have POST, you have PUT, and you're doing the same because you have a request object. You can extract data whatever you want. You will do whatever you want. You talk to your database, to your collections, then you will make a nice response. What are the issues with low-level API? First of all, authentication. Second is caching, and you can imagine that as soon as you work, as soon as your main clients are mobile applications, you'd like to send data as less as possible. So you should use cache, and as soon as you know that application knows about data, you just shouldn't send it. You have a beautiful 3 or 4 HTTP response, which you're just sending, and everything is great. But obviously, you have to implement it. And security endpoints. And let's go deeply to everyone. Yeah. Authentication. As you know, how authentication works in case of normal Meteor application. You don't have ability, at least easily, to authenticate yourself if you are on the server side. You just authenticate yourself on the server, on the client side, and then everything works great. But here you don't have client side because there's native application, and you handle this being on the server side. And the question is, okay, you're using HTTPS, you have username, you have password, easy stuff, right? You just you should be able to understand that password matches username or maybe email, but it's not so easy. What you could do, that's the exact example. And actually, what I had to do, I had to check how exactly SRP works in case of 082 plus, and also for before this, because it was implemented before 082. And you have to do this authentication manually, which is possible, doable. Just important thing, I'll mention it later, is that password, which is sent to the backend, has to be protected, obviously, right? Because you don't have to send password on the clear wire. And that's exactly example, is that so you were able to send username and password, then you should be able to generate token in this fashion, like accounts generates times login token, and then you just store this token for the user, and you give this token back to the native application, and then native application has to attach this token with any subsequent call, which has to be authorized, which means that you don't have to send username, neither password anymore, just this token. And this is the actual example. So imagine that you're authorized, and then next step, I'm using code just for clarity. Header is authorization, so it's normally HTTP header, standard one. You just provide value, which is this token which you were given by the backend, and you're executing whatever endpoint you want. Next one, please. Okay, next thing is caching. Here is it's basic HTTP stuff. There's a time-based caching. Idea is that as soon as you have a response for a client, you just add to the response last modified, and you just stamp it with the timestamp, like for example today or whatever. And then clients next time adds to the request if modified since the date you provided before, and then here you have two options. Option A is that okay, you know that your data hasn't changed since this time, which is fine. So you just return 304, just header, empty body, and application knows that data is the freshest one. Another one is content-based, which should be used as soon as it's not easy to understand when this data was changed. So imagine that you have a whole bunch of you have a collection of objects, and then maybe you will execute certain transformation like hashtag, hash map, or whatever, something like certain hash.
Sorry, Andre. Yeah. Can you just tell me if you could speak loud because you're far away from the mic?
Sure. Cool.
I will just move it towards you.
Yes. Sure.
Let's see if that helps. Oh shit.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. So content-based is that that the server should be able to generate ETAG based on data it has, and then in the next subsequent call, client shall be able to provide this ETAG, and then the same scenario is that server will send back 304 if data hasn't changed, or just a new data.
I will have it from here.
Another thing is that as soon as endpoint is easy, like you don't have to calculate too much stuff. What you can do, you can just make a hash map on server side, and key will be the endpoint, and value will be a response which you're going to send. And in this case, you don't have to calculate much. You're just saying that okay, this endpoint is cached for 60 seconds. You're using this module, and it just works. Next one, please. And security endpoints, there's not much that you can do besides HTTPS. And as soon as it's not like SSL 3.0 or something, so it shall be okay. And these are the useful modules. Next one, please. Testing. That's one of the things which I really love in backends, in backend development comparing to frontend development, is that as soon as you make tests, they work. And even if your code changes, tests still should work. In case of frontend, it's not like this, because if you change frontend, you change frontend. Your tests which relies on the frontend stuff and buttons, whatever, it stops working. In case of backends, it's much easier, I believe, because you just say that okay, here's the endpoint, and as soon as I execute this endpoint, I expect certain data to be returned to me. And this is the current solutions. One of the first solution, I believe, was implemented was API Test Runner. And then Laika, which I guess right now is a little bit deprecated because the official testing solution is Velocity, which is going to be, as soon as version 1.0 will be announced, it will be official, like unified testing solution. All right, thank you. And this is it. So, if you have questions.
Yeah, maybe it would be nice to have a round of questions before Albert starts.
Sure. Yes, I get one. You're talking about just REST APIs in Meteor. Is it really a benefit implementing in Meteor rather than implementing in pure Node.js application?
Well, this is I agree. This is a very good question. The thing is that as soon as you have a Meteor code base, you have Meteor application, and imagine you have applied, everything works, you have reactivity, then you have a third party, like a client, certain clients, and here he would like to consume your data. Here, in this scenario, the only choice you have is to reuse Meteor backend, right?
Yes. My question goes a little beyond that, because you know with 09092 there is a Apache Cordova integration in Meteor.
Yes.
So
that's
where my question goes.
Of course, I understand. Ideally, as soon as you want to implement something for iPhone or for Android, of course, it would be ideal to implement HTML5 application, just wrap it through Cordova, especially like you said in 0.9.2. It is much easier, and then you have application which is wrapped and it works on Android, iOS, and whatever.
The thing is, in my case, I was the guy who was consuming this data because I was making the iPhone application. It was native iPhone application in this case. For instance, by that time, there wasn't this Cordova support. And it also can happen that, well, the most important thing that you should do if you're using Meteor is that you actually implement reactivity in your native application. And until this Cordova, it absolutely wasn't possible. It was possible using this DDP protocol implementation that was for Objective-C, but still it's complicated because you should be able to manage all the views and render the views properly. And this was actually more work than just doing it the old-fashioned way of just exposing REST API and consuming.
I understand this is subjected to before 0.9.2.
Yeah. Still, a Cordova application can have some.
It's not the same.
It's not the same as native application. So, but you already know this. Like it's the same talk again and again.
Right. So, exactly. Like HTML5 finally good enough.
Yeah, is there or not? It's the same. Yes.
All the native applications will die, but it's hard. Obviously, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. There is a famous promise to introduce 60 FPS. Maybe this is the solution.
Yeah. Well, it would be nice to also expose your data using REST API for, as Andre said, third parties who don't want to have anything to do with Meteor at all.
Yes.
Like they're absolutely agnostic about how your backend works or not. And they don't really want to know most part of the time. Okay. So.
Very good. So, Alvaro.
Okay.
All right. Here you are.
I will go to the back.
Sure.
Can you go passing the slides? Can you do it?
Yeah.
Muy bien. Buenas tardes. Lo primero, gracias a todos por venir. Y, bueno, a la gente de Rights que nos han dejado el espacio. Bueno, mi charla va sobre un caso de uso muy concreto de Meteor y es las posibles aplicaciones que puede tener si lo combinamos con Google Maps, que es algo que estaba ahí, y aprovechar las diferentes características. O sea, bueno, un poco los motivos por los que vamos a trabajar con Meteor en este caso es para aprovechar estos tres factores fundamentales que tiene, que estamos hablando de una tecnología que ya la mayoría sabéis que es de fácil aprendizaje, por supuesto la reactividad, fundamental. Y bueno, a mí también me apetecía resaltar aquí la comunidad, ya que formamos parte de ella y creo que está creciendo y es bastante interesante, es un punto a favor. Bueno, vamos ya directamente al tema. ¿Qué posibilidades tendríamos con Google Maps? En este caso, aprovechando las características de Meteor, toda esta presentación va centrada en un ejemplo que luego al final veremos. Vamos a intentar, en este ejemplo, crear mapas reactivos en los que podamos propagar las rutas que un usuario está dibujando en el mapa a todos los clientes que estén en esa misma página web. Entonces, ese es un poco el objetivo que vamos a cumplir con Meteor y vamos a ver el escenario que nos encontramos. Para realizar esta implementación, básicamente es un ejemplo muy sencillo en el que simplemente vamos a guardar los puntos de los que consta una ruta, un path en un mapa de Google, con objetos de latitud y longitud, guardando los valores de latitud y longitud. No sé si se ve bien, pero básicamente los guardaríamos dentro de una colección de Meteor. Esta sería la declaración de la colección. Y acompañado a esa estructura de datos, generamos cierto código para que ese array de objetos que contiene todos los puntos sea capaz de dibujar, de extraer esa información de la base de datos y convertirla exactamente en un path. ¿Qué problema nos encontramos? Es más o menos fácil de intuir, conociendo las características de ambas tecnologías, que el primer problema que sucede es que la reactividad no va a existir a priori, porque cuando yo estoy dibujando un path sobre el mapa de Google, yo voy haciendo diferentes clics y voy añadiendo puntos y a su vez voy guardando esos datos en mi colección, como os decía hace un momento. Pero ¿qué sucede? Que para que esos datos se relean y se transformen en el nuevo path, algo tiene que suceder. Y en este caso, Meteor por sí solo no es capaz de aportarnos la ejecución de lo que sería la función de dibujo. Esa ejecución se tiene que propagar a todos los clientes. Entonces, nosotros para solucionarlo, en este caso utilizamos Tracker. Tracker es una forma a través de la que Meteor nos permite establecer ciertas dependencias. Es exactamente lo que necesitamos para solucionar este problema. Lo que vamos a controlar es cualquier cambio en lo que sería nuestra colección de coordenadas. Es muy sencillo, nosotros simplemente tenemos una colección con un número determinado de puntos, con latitud y longitud. Cada vez que algo suceda en esa colección, este tracker se va a ejecutar. Y básicamente lo que hace este fragmento de código, todo lo que hay entre la primera línea y la última, va a suceder siempre que haya un cambio en alguno de los clientes. Y va a suceder en todos los clientes a la vez. Entonces, básicamente lo que hacen estas líneas es un reset de lo que sería la línea dibujada sobre el mapa. Simplemente estamos utilizando una validación para saber si tenemos puntos para dibujar la línea, porque se añade también un botón para poder limpiar el mapa y ese es el código que se ejecutaría aquí. Cuando nosotros no tenemos puntos, lo que hacemos es que todos los mapas de todos los clientes que están en abierto en ese momento, que están conectados en ese momento, se limpiarían.
Os voy a enseñar ahora lo que sería el ejemplo. Lo abrimos en varios navegadores. En este caso, estoy utilizando un Chrome y un Firefox para que no haya duda de que pueda compartir la misma sesión o algo así. Y bueno, básicamente, en este ejemplo nosotros lo que vamos a hacer es establecer dos puntos, dos o más puntos, en principio empezamos por dos, y como veis en el mapa se va a ir dibujando la ruta. Un momento, tenemos uno y tenemos otro. Si veis, la ruta automáticamente ha sido dibujada en este otro mapa. Eso es precisamente el caso de uso que solucionamos con esta pequeña demo. Y bueno, hemos añadido también el texto que Google nos ofrece con las indicaciones y claro, también a su vez es reactivo, porque lo que está sucediendo es precisamente lo que os explicaba. Siempre que ahora mismo, justo en este momento, André ha añadido un punto y ese punto ha sido extendido. Vosotros podéis abrir esta misma dirección en vuestros dispositivos, en vuestros ordenadores. Ah, vale, igual no ha sido André, ha sido tú el que ha añadido el punto. Ok. Y básicamente funcionaría de la misma manera en
todos nuestros dispositivos. Entonces, un poco la magia de todo esto es este tracker, que en realidad lo que está permitiéndonos es establecer un control de las cosas que suceden en un único cliente y extenderlo de forma automática a todos los demás. Entonces, es un ejemplo muy breve, como tampoco tenemos mucho tiempo y probablemente os apetezca charlar un poco. Si os parece, pasamos a comentar las cosas más recogido, nos hacéis algunas preguntas si queréis y tal. La charla sería más o menos esto.
Creo que podrías enseñar el código de la parte del tracker.
Sí, lo
Quiero decir, que la presentación no se ve muy bien.
Ya, no sabemos cómo se va a ver.
No, por eso que
lo publicaré.
Vale.
Luego.
Así, también, la ruta de las slides también para publicar.
Sí.
Vale.
Vale, sí, lo podemos. Es muy sencillo, pero claro, no se ve, es que no.
Bueno, hay más o menos.
¿Se ve?
Más o menos.
Bueno, básicamente lo que hace es que...
You can open the image, like directly.
Yeah.
No, it's an image.
Mucho mejor. Básicamente lo que hay dentro del tracker es una variable donde recogemos todas las coordenadas que hay dentro, y esta es una variable global que está dentro de la demo, que lo que hace es en ese mismo cliente coleccionar la misma información. Dentro de un array tiene todos los puntos guardados. Entonces, el tracker lo que hace en sí es, primero extraemos lo que hay en nuestra base de datos Mongo, que eso todos los clientes lo tienen sincronizado por Meteor. Entonces, una vez que hacemos esa extracción, reseteamos nuestro array donde están todos los puntos de la ruta y lo volvemos a componer. Es decir, recorremos todos los elementos de la colección y vamos añadiendo a nuestro array de puntos. Y después llamamos a esta función, que esta es la función que simplemente hace el loop.
Bueno, que no voy a sobre todo en la parte de arriba del paquete, directamente.
El tema es apreciar la diferencia un poco de lo que
aporta.
Lo que aporta y la capacidad de hacer esto con un código tan reducido en comparación con otras soluciones más tradicionales o el Node, por ejemplo, puro. Y luego, sobre todo, la magia, ¿no?, que ocurra con el tracker de las dependencias.
Claro, simplemente comentando este código no es reactivo, y añadiendo este código sí que lo es.
Ya sabe dónde está la dependencia, es suficientemente inteligente para inferir dónde están las dependencias.
Es que no son trackers, yo siempre las hago con Deps.
Ya no, o sea, Deps es el sustituto actual. ¿No?
Tracker es el sustituto de Deps.
Perdón, Tracker es el sustituto.
Yeah, so it's a new. Yeah. It used to be Deps something.
Yes, I mean, the problem is that I learned, I've been working with Meteor for 2 years now.
All right.
So I grew up with Meteor. I started on 0.3 or 4, I don't remember. So a lot of things have changed during this time. There was a point in the project that I had to start with a version. And unfortunately, I am stuck in version 0.8. So there's a lot of things that have come in the last few months, and I didn't have the time to migrate because I've got like 100 lines of code of a lot of things we are doing, and I didn't have the time to migrate. So that's why, for instance, I never use Tracker. I always use the Deps because I've done my own tricks and my own functions to do something like Tracker. No, maybe not that good, but kind of. That's why I was asking you to solve the code, because I wasn't able to see that at the beginning it was Tracker auto-run, not Deps.
Yeah. That is the new magic.
Yeah. That's also, you see a lot of times the word magic, and that's something that I recently been in the Barcelona event, we know the event by Barcelona JS. And some people told me that the backend guys don't like too much Meteor because there is too much magic under the hood. So the problem with the quote-unquote problem, is that for some, they call themselves pure developers, they don't like this kind of stuff like, oh, it's magic behind this and this. How the tracker knows that he has to compute the code again because there has something changed?
Well, yeah, you see, it's kind of philosophical question, right? Because it's something like that was also addressed in this first talk is that this leaky abstraction, of course, you can do magic, and it looks amazing. Right now, Meteor examples, like, wow, I've never seen this. Wow, it just works. Like, and you can check the code and what the ability that it's able to, for example, here, you see, this auto-run, this function, is able to, this function is executed only if something inside has changed. So it is like internal ability to inspect all the values inside. And here we see that we have chords find. So basically we have cursor, right, to our collection chords. And as soon as somebody includes something into collection chords, this function is executed without any more additional logic. Like, it just works, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, you have to trust. It's like
5, 6, 8, 10. It's 10 lines of code.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I really like from Meteor from the beginning. From the very beginning, it's like you are productive. I mean, just to me, it took me like 2 weeks because I came from Java once.
All right.
So it took me two weeks to start doing things and doing magic.
Sure.
And with 100 lines of code, you have create that delete the functionality, everything. I mean, it's like great.
Also, for me, JavaScript as a language, like Meteor is awesome, but JavaScript also as a language gives you so much power. Like, you can do basically everything. You can burn trees with this language, like everything. Really, this is amazing. And I also noticed that maybe it's actually part of this philosophical approach that CoffeeScript is quite popular amongst Meteor people, no? Or it's not true? Like,
sorry?
Coffee and JavaScript. Like, is there a tendency to go to more like this high abstract language like Coffee, or?
I personally don't like Coffee.
All right.
But it's just like I've done some tests, and it's fun because you write less, even less. But the problem is that you go more to a more complicated logic, and you've got a bug because you've got a bug. Sometimes it's really difficult to trace back where the original error is.
All right.
So there was also talk during this last event in Barcelona about code preprocessors on how to do them properly. So you've got a direct link on the source code and the compiled code. But I mean, I've been developing JavaScript for 4 years now, and I still don't like too much preprocessors.
All right. Sure. I see. I think that as soon as you come from Microsoft background, it's quite popular. TypeScript is quite popular. Right? People use TypeScript, and it's a cool language. Like, you have types and like JavaScript with types. Not bad. But also, yeah, this is preprocessor. You have to transpile it, all this stuff. All right.
Bien, ¿alguna duda, alguna explicación sobre esta parte? ¿Alguna experiencia que quiera contar a alguien? A nosotros nos parecía importante compartir estos conocimientos, pero también sobre todo abrir la conversación, porque Meteor es algo que es como un poco un paso por delante, ¿no? Esta demo en realidad puede servir para muchas cosas o para ninguna, ¿no? Entonces es un poco ese acercamiento.
Yo creo que es muy importante, es decir, el hecho de que la comunidad de Meteor en España ya vi 6, 9, 12 personas. La última vez, en el último hangout, organizamos unos 3, ¿sabes? Entonces, pues, uno no podía venir, por motivos diferentes motivos, pero éramos 3. Al final, lo que quedan sensaciones son 3. Esto no va a ningún lado. Pero sí que es verdad que yo, por ejemplo, en mi empresa soy evangelizador de Meteor en plan pesado ya. Y de hecho, un compañero mío, yo sí que si tenemos, o sea, creo que tenemos tiempo, ¿no? Hasta las 7. Si queréis, os enseño, por ejemplo, una aplicación que hemos hecho para la Comisión Europea, un proyecto de investigación y desarrollo. Investigación y desarrollo. A ver si me acuerdo de la URL. No, okay. No, it's. I'm going to check in my laptop because
¿Qué dirías?
It never happened.
Okay, maybe I can use my own laptop.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
But I need the adapter. Do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got battery, so I think it's a big deal. No, porque todos tengo uno en la oficina y otro en casa.
Vale, voy a seguir pidiendo. Ando mendigando.
So I just okay. Did you do something with the?
Oh, wait, just give me a second. Let's see. I had the issue also to connect it for some reason. I had the issues also to connect it. I didn't start. It wasn't
Okay, maybe I got mine there. I don't know.
Also, in the meantime, you guys know probably that about Meteor Day, Meteor World Day. It's November 6th, and please bring your laptops, because it will be more fun with laptop.
Kevin will be coming.
Yes.
You will be coming as well, no?
Yes, of course I have to.
You must.
Yeah, I gotta go. Yes. I think there's a problem with the connector.
With this one?
Yeah, I mean the pins are not okay.
Yeah. I had to restart my computer, then just start. Usually it's not that easy.
No, I cannot plug it because there's one pin there. So,
Do you want to try from mine?
I don't know. No, but the problem is this VGA.
Yeah, I see.
So it's not yours. It's just yours. Okay, so I can't. So
No tengo algún problema.
no, es que no está, hay un pin que está jodido. A ver, no, Did you stop recording?
No, sure. You're here.
No, it's okay. No, maybe. No. Let's see if it works. Oh, here we go. So you probably guys know this. So where is the screen? Here. No, if anyone can see my mouse.
No.
Where's the screen?
There.
Oh.
Maybe
Oh, it's up. Yes, okay. Now it should be okay. Okay. Maybe it's not the better solution, but okay. This is an application we've done with Meteor. It's also pre-0.9 and it's also pre-Blaze. I think it's 0.8. This guy who has done this application is my colleague Carlos Piñal. He's also a Meteor developer and also comes from Java world. And this is part of this is an application for storing and collecting data from electrical vehicles in order to be able to monitor the data and those things. I will post the URL. Maybe we can post it. You can post it to the.
Yeah, well. Looks cool.
Okay, so for instance, well, this is him. This is Carlos. And this is the application, of course, with where is the mouse again? I can see my mouse up there. So this application, here we have also some experience with Google Maps. As you see here, I also asked him to come because he has had this problem with the non-reactivity of the Google Maps, and as you can see, he has done some things with this API as well. Well, maybe it's not working, but you can see that we've been also working with this kind of things. And this application, it's to collect data. You can create surveys. For instance, this is a survey already done. So you can fulfill and send this survey. And you can also build the survey. I mean, with drag and drop, but I don't remember where because I don't know very much about this application. Sorry. But it should be somewhere. Well, here, I mean, I'm trying to find where is the fields types to the templates here. Here you can create a new survey or template, or I don't remember. Okay, there is a test. Okay, so here now you can do a drag and drop. Everything, of course, here is using reactivity, and everything should be. You see the reload because of the collection has been updated. But this is also kind of cool because you can this form can be also built and resized dynamically, so you can create these forms in a drag and drop way. I'm sorry, I'm not really skilled with this on how he did, but you see, you can create these kind of forms, and it's already saved. And then you should be able to, if somewhere, I don't know if here it is. So you see, I mean, there's no save button, there's nothing, it's just there. Then now this is the test I have done with this information. And this information is also coming from it is supposed to use a REST API from 3 third parties application that are going to load the information to the MongoDB. So it has also a REST API. And you can also upload files. There is a drag and drop on these kind of things, and you can also upload by FTP. But I don't have the data here, so he has done very nice things with this because he's processing not big data, but very large amounts of data. And one thing we've learned during this process is that using Meteor, you can still do a lot of things like if it were Node.js, using NPM packages in server side, and it's kind of easy now. It was in the past when we started doing these kind of things, it wasn't easy at all using NPM packages, but now it has come more and more easier thanks to Meteor guys and also Arnola who made these NPM packages. And well, I think that will be it because I mean, it's not a really complex application, but that's all the functionality, and moreover, it has allowed us to play with Meteor, which is something we really like. The other thing we are working on, we are working in an open innovation platform. That's the thing I'm doing. It's completely done on Meteor, but it's not yet ready, and I don't know if I could show it, and I think we are running out of time. So,
Sure. Okay.
So that will be it.
What is done for a front end? Like what is used?
Bootstrap, but tweak it.
Sure.
So it's completely responsive. And if you put in a bigger screen, of course, it adapts.
Sure.
There is data that you see the bar is typical bootstrap bar. And it's one thing he has done there, and it's with this really nice, is that it's completely multi-language on the fly. So you see here it has changed, but it's also multi-language not only in the interface but also in the data. If you go here to types, you see here is one kind of data that is being defined in Spanish, in English, and can be defined in many other languages. The measure for this type of unit is also multi-language, so in principle, and it's yet to be proved, but we're working on that, you could upload almost any kind of data to this and process to measure these electric vehicles emissions.
Looks amazing.
Cool. Good job.
And that's it.
Right.
Questions? Please no. Okay, guys.
So yeah, I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.